Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the National Guard products number 962. This is a ramp component is what it is. This is just a 6-inch sample piece, and the ramp component, the 962, is used to transition your installation from, or up to, I should say, 1.5 inches. Okay, so this is going to allow you to go from 1 inch over here out to 1.5 inches. So if you're building a ramp assembly and you need to get up to 1.5 inches, this will be a necessary component that you're going to add behind your 954, which will be behind your R50. So you'll get out to 18 inch, using those three components. That'll get you to 1.5 inches, okay? 6-inch wide. And the reason that all of these parts are 3 or 6-inch wide, and that you're not seeing 6-inch here because it's really measured from where the components nest to each other. So that 6-inch is where that falls in. There's an ADA, ANSI, federal government requirement that your rise not exceed 1 inch for every 12 inches of run. This is 6-inch, so it does not change by more than 1/2 inch. Okay, so by that logic, 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18-inch, and that gives you 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inches. You can get out to 2.5 inch if you needed to get that far. You could certainly do that in a code-compliant way. Available in 3 different finish options. This is mill aluminum, just what the aluminum looks like, sent from the mill. No finish on it. It's relatively, it's raw aluminum. You can do this in a DKB finish as well, dark bronze anodized finish. You can also do it in a Slick It Ain't, which is SIA. It literally stands for Slick It Ain't, and that will be an incredibly heavy, coarse application done over a ramp. And I would see that to be quite beneficial because fluted or grooved top thresholds are really not slippery even when wet, even though they're not, even though it would be incorrect to call them slip proof. My foot has lost footing on thresholds in the past, especially smooth ones. But I could fathom how the Slick It Ain't would be very appropriate if you're dealing with a ramp that's so deep or wide, the width of the ramp, 18, 24, 30, 36 inch, might cause trouble for someone in a wheelchair because you might lose traction. Okay, so I think Slick It Ain't might be a good option for that. The product brochure shows all the individual components, also shows how they're stacked together, if you can study what that all looks like. It also shows a consolidated part number to give you the entire assembly. What I mean to say is if you literally need to get to 18-inch, you would order the R150, and that would give you the 3 subcomponents to get you there. Or you could order the subcomponents separately. It doesn't matter. They're just sold per piece per foot. Putting them together in a single unit does not affect the cost. But you're pretty much always going to need an R50, right? And then you can go in 3-inch increments from there in a code-compliant way. The lengths are listed in the site from 2 foot to 8 foot. You can have longer lengths. We generally don't put them in the site in longer lengths because the cost to ship is prohibitive. However, we can certainly accommodate that. If you need a single piece that's 10 foot long, we can do that. It's costly though because the shipment can no longer go package service. However, if you're doing a job and you need 10 openings and they're 14 foot, 8 inch long, and you're doing 24 inch deep, I'm not sure why you would use that, but you certainly could. in some large convention center type application. The cost of shipping is insignificant at that point based on the amount of aluminum. Now, this piece allows me to illustrate the fact that if you put this ramp together, you're going to have a lot of open area underneath the ramp. Well, National Guard makes closed end ramp returns for this material. The upside of that return closed end for the ramps is that it will look utterly professional when it's done. Material that's slid into place, fastened down, looks perfect. The downside is that they're really expensive. Aluminum on its own is expensive, but when you put all the labor required to manufacture return closed ends for these ramps, then they get really costly. I've had people order them because the spec calls for it and they are to be included, or they don't order them and make their own, however that's done, or they don't order them because they're pouring concrete to come up right to where the ramp is going to fit inside of, rendering it not an issue. So there you go. Most of the time we do not sell the return closed ends, and it's not for cost. It just means the application doesn't mandate that be included. Okay. The rest of that product brochure that's there will show you a couple of other single ramps that are 4-inch wide or 6-inch wide. The 4-inch wide is code compliant because it does not exceed the 1/2-inch height overall, and because its leading edge is compliant with the 1:2 requirement of the bevel that would be required for something that would be greater than 1/4 inch. Okay, so that you're in good shape with that, so you're code compliant. The 657 6-inch ramp, very typical and common. You're going to transition 1/2 inch. And then you also see some interlocking rubber ramps that are there. Very durable material that's held down with an adhesive. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the National Guard products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I'm quite partial to National Guard because they're a comprehensive provider of all things weather stripping related. They basically focus just on weather stripping, but have some other products that are associated. A relatively new line of flood barriers. They have a line of vision frames that they do as well. Their catalog is worth reviewing for that regard, and would suggest that you do so. Any questions on the National Guard number 962 ramp component or any other National Guard product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you very much.